Hello and welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Friday, November 8th. We got a big slate to go over. It is 11 games on Draftkings. It's 13 on FanDuel. Almost all the teams are playing tonight, and we are going to dig into all of the games. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann, at FlatTyler83 on Twitter and on your DFS site. So let's dig into this slate and see what we can dig up here. I think it's an interesting one, and let's dive in. I can't wait, though, until we get to where we have those 6 to 8 game slates being the regular. I do much so favor those sizes over these giant ones, but we play what we are given. All right, so chalk of the night, we got Scottie Pippen, 6K, 24% owned at point guard for the Grizzlies versus the Wizards, which is a great matchup. And Scottie with no jaw is just in a great spot. He's going to play a lot of minutes, likely 28 plus minutes, and the dude has just done work whenever he's been on the court this season. 1.24 fantasy per minute over the last 5, 1.909 over the last 20. He's in a good spot to keep dominating. I'm definitely interested in some Scottie in this matchup, given that it's versus the Wizards, and they are a great matchup. Jaden Ivey, 6.3K, 24% owned, 4-star alert score. It's versus the Pistons, another good matchup. Versus the Hawks, another very good matchup. They are 25th versus shooting guard. And I think this is an interesting one that I will definitely have some pieces of. I'm just not going to go super overboard on it, but he is one of my higher owned shooting guards. And at 30 in this matchup versus the Hawks, I definitely am intrigued. It's a pace up spot. Atlanta 103.2 pace versus the Pistons right around 100. So you got to like that massive pace up differential. Next, we got Luka Doncic, 11.5K, 21% owned. I'm going to have some Luka, but I'm probably not getting up to 20K or 20%. The thing with Luka is he just hasn't shown us the ceiling that he generally does, and a big part of that is, one, he has Clay, and he has Kyrie there, both healthy, both playing well. With that, I'm going to have some Luka. It is this Luka versus Booker rivalry that is interesting and has pushed Luka into some giant games in the past, but I just can't go that hard with Kyrie there as well. When Kyrie's healthy, Luka just does not have the same type of ceiling. All right, now let's get into some pivots. Tyrese Halliburton, 8.1K. I know I'm kind of a broken record. I keep going back to this one, but hey, he has way too high of a ceiling at 8,100 to not be playing. He's been in that 40 range most of the games this season. 39, 47, 47, 55. That is like 4 of the 8 games, which 3 of those would have won you a GPP or could have won you a GPP at this 8,100 price. Very interested in a good matchup versus the Hornets. 236 total. Game total is there. Hornets are a soft matchup. Give me the Tyrese. I'm in on it. I don't care that they are 7-point favorites. The likelihood this game stays close into the fourth and everybody gets their normal allotted minutes. Jalen Brunson, 8,800. Look, we got Cat there. Jalen Brunson is now the 1B. He is not the sole one. Cat is the one. Jalen Brunson is the 1B. Now, he still has major upside. He can still hit 50. He still lives in the 40s. And it's a good matchup versus the Bucks, so I'm interested in some Brunson. He can take it to him. I think it's an interesting one, and the fact that he's going that low owned, I'm going to take some swings. Now, Let's get over to DraftKings for point guard there. Our high-owed Luka, we covered him. Drew Holiday, 5.4K. I think this is a disrespectful line. The fact is that Jaylen Brown is out again. Porzingis is still out. And the ball is going to be in Drew Holiday's hands more often. He has been just under 6x of this price in most games. I mean, look, 25, 28, 25, 29. He has two 30-point games. The fact is that 30, it wouldn't be that surprising out of him today, which is almost 6x. And if he gets hot, he absolutely can go for 40 or 50. So absolutely interested in some Drew Holiday. I don't mind the spot whatsoever. He played 33 minutes last time with Brown out. I would not be surprised whatsoever if he plays right around the same. The only issue is the Nets aren't good, and it's a 13-point game total. But if this game stays a little close, stays close into the third, he almost plays his full allotted minutes, and he can easily get there. He can get there in 28 minutes if he needs to. Andre Jackson, 3,400. He started last game with Trent out. If Trent is out again, he probably starts again. He played 28 minutes. The thing, too, is that even in a blowout, it's versus the Knicks. Sorry, I was still thinking for some reason the Nets. Andre Jackson is just too cheap. He's 3,400 in a starting spot. I think you have to consider him at that price. Do I absolutely love it? No. I mean, his minutes are in question, but at least he is a 0.89 fantasy point per minute guy. With the starters, maybe more like 0.75. Am I interested? Absolutely at 3,400. He goes, 28 minutes at 0.75, and he's still hitting value for you. So I don't mind going there whatsoever. Now, bringing it back over to shooting guard on FanDuel, we got Benedict Mathurin, 28% owned. He's 5.5K. It's a 3.5 star alert score. It's versus the Charlotte Hornets, who can't really stop much, and since entering the starting lineup, he has done nothing but put up 30 burgers. 30, 32, 36. Playing 32 to 34 minutes a game, the guy can fill up the bucket, and I think he does it again. Definitely interested in Benedict. I have a lot of interest in Pacers players today. He is another one that I will. The one thing, I'm trying to not go too hard on them in one single lineup. Jaden Ivey, we talked about it. Interested. KCP at 4K. I'm fine to go here. It's the same situation when we were all over him the other night. It is a decent matchup. KCP without Banchero's getting a usage bump. He's getting a minutes bump. Fine to go here, but he just doesn't have a huge ceiling, and that's my only issue with going to him. He's not going to get you 35 very often. So if he is super chalky, there is a more likely situation where not playing him isn't going to kill you, but you do have the benefit of if he only scores 18, you got a leg up on the field. So I don't mind having some KCP, but I'm not going to go super hard on him. Now pivots. Brandon Boston, 4,600. Guy has started 2 games in a row, played 37 and 38 minutes. We got similar injury situation in New Orleans, so he should play a lot. No Banchero. This game should stay close. The only issue is the game total is only 212. But he's going to play enough minutes to make it matter. He's been 37 and 27 entering the starting lineup. He's only 4,600. I would way rather pay the 600 more, go from KCP to Brandon Boston. Lower owned and higher ceiling. Give it to me. Tyrese Halliburton, 8,100. Talked about it. We love it. And Bilal Coulibaly, 6,200. It's versus the Grizzlies, who have no jaw. They don't have multiple guys. No Bane, no Smart. And he's playing a ton of minutes. he has a huge ceiling. We saw him hit 40, 49 versus Atlanta. Playing this type of minutes in this type of spot, the ceiling is just too good not to go there a little bit. Now, I do have a little bit of an issue because most of the time he's around 30, and 30 is only 5x. He really does need to hit mid-30s or 40 plus to win you a GPP. But at only 3% owned, I'm willing to take some chances that this is one of those outliers where he's able to go 40 plus. I think there's a chance. Definitely interested in that chance. Shooting guard on DraftKings, we got Benedict. We got Brandon Boston, 4,400's a steal for him. Tim Hardaway, 4K. That is super cheap. He's been starting around 23 all the time. He's taken shots, 10, 12, 9, 10. He's in a plus matchup for scoring. They're allowing almost 17 points a game to the small forward, 27th overall. There is absolutely a chance that this game could go Tim Hardaway's way, where he's able to get us 20, 22 real points. And if he does that, he's probably into the high 20s in fantasy scoring. So a little bit interested in Hardaway, 4K. He's not super high owned. I'll take some swings there. I mean, it's really no different than the KCP play. The only difference here is KCP and the Magic are missing Banchero, who obviously takes up way more usage. So more usage flows to the to KCP in this matchup. Both of them, I'm absolutely willing to go with these prices on DraftKings. But KCP, same goes with on FanDuel, is if he gets super high owned, I'd kind of rather fade in him than play him. But at, medium ownership, I'm fine with taking some swings on him for sure. Getting over to small forward on FanDuel, we got Benedict Mathurin. We got Anthony Edwards at 9K versus the Blazers. Dude's been living in the high 40s. And I'm fine with going again here. He did crush Portland twice last season. Can he do it again? Absolutely. The dude has been a walking bucket, crushing the three-pointers this year. There's probably going to be a game this year where he's going for 40, 50 points. And versus the Trailblazers, it's absolutely one that he can do it. This matchup is cake. Don't mind taking some Edwards. Kispert's popping up a little bit. He's playing around 30 minutes. There is a ceiling if the ball's going in the basket. It's just not much different than a KCP type play. Let's go pivots. I can't quit Jalen Johnson. He keeps doing it. We talked about him the other day. He went for 53. The dude has been 50 plus in 4 of 9 games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 games. He's still only mid-8s. You just don't get that kind of ceiling or consistency at mid-8s. So I'm all in on it. It's a fine matchup versus the Pistons. And the Pistons are without Duren, so their interior defense is going to be a little bit worse. The rebounding is a little bit worse. Give me some Jalen Johnson. Don't think too hard about it. Go with the boy. He's balling. Michael Porter Jr., we got no Aaron Gordon. He put up 37 and 39 in the last 2 games. He gets a boost without Aaron Gordon, and I'm definitely fine going here against the Heat, who right now, versus small forwards, 26th. Let's go. They're giving up almost 18 points a game, which is right where Porter averages in a plus matchup. 20 plus points would not be that surprising. And you get the boost without no Aaron Gordon. I'm in. All right. We got the number 1 pick who did number 1 pick type things last game. Went for 33 points, 7 boards, 2 blocks, 3 assists, 3 steals. The dude is starting to really turn into the number 1 pick that we thought he could be. And he's finally playing some solid minutes. Played 37 last game. 30 the game before that, 30 the game before that, 2 games before that, 35. They are willing to give him run now. Hawks are hurting a little injury-wise, so you have to expect 30-plus minutes once again. I would almost count on that. I'm fine for some Reisner, Zachary in this spot. Absolutely. Getting over to DraftKings small forward, we got Benedict Mathurin, we got Tim Hardaway, we got KCP, Andre Jackson. We talked about them all, so we're just going to move it on over to power forward on FanDuel. Jaren Jackson Jr., 18% owned, 3.5 star alert score. Applied total is high. We got a lot of injuries here. So Jaren Jackson's going to have the ball in his hands more. All of his huge games have come without, Ja and Bane and all that. The ball just has to be in his hands more. And this is a great matchup for him to score. So with that, he can also put up his blocks and his steals and all that and really get a huge fantasy game. We saw last year where he's putting up 50s and 60s all the time. And at 7,700 in a decent matchup, I got to take some swings here. I don't care that he's the highest owned point or power forward. I will have some. Santi Aldama, 6,100, 18% owned. I'll have a little bit. My one thing is if Jaren Jackson gets there, it's going to be because he's doing a ton of different things, including getting boards. And that takes away from Aldama a little bit because Aldama has to get boards and his ball has to be going in the basket. That 3 ball, that is. So I don't love playing Jaren and Aldama together. I may have a little bit of them, but I'm going to try and separate them to a little bit, as well as Goga. I think you could play one of the 3 or max 2 of the 3 there. Franz Wagner, 14% owned, 7,800. He's in a great matchup versus the Pelicans, and his usage is going to be very, very high the whole time Banchero's out. We haven't seen a ceiling game from him yet without Banchero, but I think one's coming. Absolutely fine going there as well. Peyton Watson, we have not talked about him yet. He's 4,500 on FanDuel. Absolutely intrigued with no Aaron Gordon. He's going to start again. He played 34 minutes last time, put up 28. 28 at 4,500 is fine with me. I am absolutely willing to go there. The matchup power forward is decent. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. His usage is just going to be lower with starters, but he's going to play more minutes. So I'm fine with the trade-off and fine taking some. Just not going to go super heavy on him. Pivots. Jalen Johnson, we talked about. Isaiah Stewart. Look, I think Isaiah Stewart likely starts at center versus the Pistons in this matchup. And, we've seen him for years at a center position. He can do a little bit. He's usually around 0.85 fantasy points per minute. He isn't a super high fantasy point per minute guy, but he's likely to play 28, 30 minutes, 32 minutes. And at 5,100, I'm willing to take some swings against a matchup versus Atlanta. And Pascal Siakam, 7,400. I think this is just disrespectful for a guy that can give you high 40s on the regular and even get into 50s or 60s if he really gets it going. The Hornets, there's no Miles Bridges. Their interior's beat up. They have no Nick Richards, no Williams. He is going to be able to live on the boards if he wants. I absolutely like some Siakam in this matchup. 236 total is giant. Give me some Siakam. The other thing here is most of his better games have all been in higher paced spots. AD, 11.2. If he's back, we don't know. He is dealing with plantar fascia, I believe. But this dude has been insane this year, and living in 60s absolutely can give you 70s. It's in a fine matchup versus the 76ers. If he's low owned, if he's starting, I'm fine going with some AD. Michael Porter Jr. we talked about, so we'll move it on over to power forward on FanDuel. Jaren Jackson, or on DraftKings, sorry. Jaren Jackson, Aldama, we talked about. Tobias, 5,900 on DK, 17% owned. Look, it's a good matchup. this price is low. He was only there, pretty much during the playoffs last year. Outside of that, he was a 7K guy. The guy is better than that. He started off real rough, but over the last 5, fantasy points per game is 1.06. There's no Duren. He's probably going to pick up a couple boards from that, maybe play a couple extra minutes, and I'm fine with some Tobias in this spot. At 5,900, it's pretty interesting. This price is just a bit low for a guy that probably plays 32 to 34 minutes, and we've seen him always around that 1 fantasy per minute area, 0.9, something like that. I know he's been lower than that with the Pistons, but I just can't see that going the same way unless, because he signed a new contract, he's just mailing it in, which, hey, that could be a thing, but I'm gonna bet on Tobias a little bit at these prices when there's still some unknown there. Grant Williams, 4,300 is super interesting with no Miles Bridges. He played 26 minutes last game. I would expect he slides into the starting lineup today, and I'm fine going with some Grant Williams. Getting over to center on FanDuel. Neemias Queta, 22% owned. He put up 29 and 28 minutes. Game before that, put up 24 and 23. The big difference this game is that Kornet is now doubtful. So we have no Jaylen Brown. Now Kornet also doubtful. He's going to stay in this starting lineup, and I think the minutes are more secure. Last game, we weren't sure how many minutes he's going to play. This time, I would kind of expect 26 to 28, maybe even plus. And when he's been a fantasy per minute guy at 4K, I'm very interested in that spot. Fine going to some Queta. Talked about Jaren. We talked about Stewart. Daniel Gafford, 5K. Look, he was the chalk the other day. He was at 4,800. He's only 200 more. It's the same spot. The guy is 1.25 fantasy points per minute over the last 5. Now, we saw he played 24 minutes, so it's not like he got a huge bump up in minutes without Lively, but there is the possibility if he goes from 24 to 26 at low ownership, there is a ceiling. The other thing is the Suns have Nurkic. He could just match Nurkic's minutes and be out there just to slow down Nurkic. If that's the case, I would bet on him being more like 26 minutes tonight. And at that, I'm very interested. On the flip side, you still have your foul concerns with him and just not being able to get to those minutes. But at low ownership, I'm more interested in taking that bet than I am at high ownership. Other pivots, we got AD and then Goga. 4,900 for Goga, and nobody's going there is wild to me. I'm going to have a ton of them. 27 minutes versus OKC in a blowout loss, and then 30 minutes versus Indy. He's going to play 28 to 30 minutes most likely. He's over a fantasy point per minute, and he's only 4,900. Give it to me. He can get you 1.2, 1.4 fantasy per minute if he gets it rolling. And I think versus the Pelicans, it wouldn't be that surprising. It's not like their big men are really dominant. So definitely interested in some Goga. I really like the spot. Shocked to see him be in this low owned. I would expect this comes up throughout the day. Center on DraftKings, Nikola Jokic. I don't think anybody's going to tell you should fade Jokic. Without Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray, 26 and 83. Now, Murray's back, so maybe he doesn't have quite as big upside, but the dude has been absolutely crushing it. And you got a guy that in like 8 games this season has already 2 80-point performances. Like, hey, sometimes when the chalk is chalky, you got to play a bit. And I'm gonna play some Jokic for sure. Nemes, fine with it. Cat, 8,400. I've been saying this dude is underpriced, and he is still underpriced. He has 260 burgers at low 8s. Give me some Cat. He is the focal point of this team now. Not only does he have 260 burgers, he has a 48, a 54, and a 43. Majority of his games you want. There's only 2 games this season that you would not have been happy with him at his current price. Absolutely fine going back to Cat. Love the spot. I'm in on him. And his price is just disrespectful. So that'll do it for us today, guys. We will be back next week. I wish you the best of luck. Let's make some money this Friday and over the weekend. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.